It is a joy to be with you this Children and Youth Sunday, where our youngest parishioners at the 10 a.m. service are shadowing volunteer roles to learn about how the church runs. Of the many excitements of my role here at Trinity, a special honor of mine is the privilege of facilitating youth group with our middle and high school students. Every Thursday evening, we gather for games, community, spirituality, and prayer in the basement of the Children and Youth building right behind the sanctuary back here. This spring, we have spent a good portion of our time talking about climate and faith and learning more about what it means to be people who follow Jesus during the climate crisis we have found ourselves born into. The culmination of our time on this topic led the youth to create a presentation and a set of haiku poems, which are included in your bulletin, which were all first presented at the Climate Connections Forum a couple weeks ago here at Trinity. Today, we have the privilege of hearing some of the youth share this presentation from the pulpit. As I invite them up to speak in just a moment, I encourage you each to reflect on how their understanding of caring for the climate is deeply connected to their love for all people and the whole creation, themes that we've heard in both of the lessons and the gospel text today. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Claire and Matteo Caripasani. Eliza Selsler also helped with this presentation, so I will be reading Eliza's portion because she couldn't be here this morning.
We've all heard about climate change, but have you ever really listened? As a youth in society today, you hear almost daily about global warming, pollution, and saving the turtles.
After a while, it gets a bit daunting. I mean, what can a 13-year-old do about something that global, much like religion?
As a youth group over the last 2 months, we have spent our time talking about how both religion and climate change interact and overlap.
We started with discussing how the words we use when talking about this climate crisis don't always reflect the severity of our situation. How words like greenhouse gases can sometimes sound like pretty little flowery fragrances.
Education in what these terms really mean is vital to having people understand that this is a terrible situation. I mean, not only are thousands of animals endangered, hundreds of plants gone extinct, but the future generations are at risk.
It's truly scary that scientists predict by the time I'm 38, there won't be enough food growth for our global population. It's horrifying. In the past 100 years, the Earth's temperature has risen 0.8 degrees Celsius or 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Most of the warming happened in the last 2 decades. This means that the planet is warming up at a faster rate than now than any time in history.
This might not seem like a whole lot, but it's completely destroying so many ecosystems in nature already.
As many of us have been told by teachers, mentors, friends, and parents, carbon emissions are a type of human-made pollution which thickens our atmosphere and causes more heat from the sun to get trapped on Earth. All that heat warms our planet,
which then melts our icebergs and then raises our oceans, which then causes habitat loss, which causes species extinction. All of this is a chain reaction, and this is only one part of it. Several different factors are damaging ecosystems in our world in small ways and large.
It's important to remember why this matters, not just because people tell us it does. The world is beautiful. Think of your favorite place in the world. Imagine all its natural beauty. Now picture one piece of trash. Now a year goes by and there's been 20 pieces of plastic and metal around your favorite spot. Now 10 years go by and it's covered in litter. All your favorite animals and plants are gone and it smells like a rotten dumpster.
At that point, it could be deforested completely or covered by newly risen oceans.
This seems like a crazy scenario, and not only is it already happening, but it's only going to get worse.
That's a real bummer, Claire.
Well, God gave us this incredible earth. Much like the Garden of Eden, God gave humanity this garden. It's our job to take care of it. The ebbs and flows of weather and temperature are normal and healthy, but dramatic changes that are happening from human population are very dangerous.
Small things can become huge issues when they add up, like using plastics that break down and choke our seas, or like leaving lights on in an empty room which wastes energy for no reason. Everything adds up.
Looking for a solution can be hard. We know that this issue, but what do we do? Charities are a great resource, but it's hard to notice our contributions directly. Little things matter in this case. You can do many things.
Planting native species and switching to eco-friendly transportation and energy.
Recycling and thrifting instead of using fast fashion.
Since these small choices have such detrimental effects over time, we as a society are vulnerable change makers. We have to start somewhere.
While the climate crisis may have been small when humans started it, it's now making huge negative changes. Let's start taking care of God's garden and start with the small things.
We have a canvas up here that everyone from the Climate Forum a couple weeks ago put a fingerprint on. Each print will be one plant planted, and we look forward to planting them this summer as a youth group. We appreciate everyone for listening, and we hope that you'll consider making a great change for the future and for the better. Let's recreate God's great garden.
For a closer look at the canvas, I'll have it with me in the portico after the service, and you can come up and take a closer look. A huge thank you to all of our youth groupers for their time and effort in creating this presentation and the haikus in your bulletin. So the haikus were a collaboration between everyone in the youth group, and then a small subset of our students wrote today's presentation that you just heard. So, in addition to the small actions of change that our youth so energetically spurred us towards, I also encourage us to take a close look at the second lesson today from the book of Revelation, which Anya just read for us. Thank you, Anya, to see how it may speak to the moment of climate crisis we find ourselves in. The vision we find presented in Revelation is one of complete cosmic renewal, where no piece of creation is left unrestored. This picture of robust, interconnected renewal challenges us to look for ways in which our world's own shortcomings and struggles are interconnected as well. The enmeshment of problems connected to the climate are a tangled polycrisis, a term first introduced to me by theologian and activist Brian McLaren. A polycrisis is a web of simultaneously occurring interconnected crises that create greater overall instability and breakdown than any individual problem could account for. Some of you may have experienced your very own polycrisis trying to get out the door to church this morning. Maybe it started when you couldn't find one kid's shoes, and then suddenly someone else is saying they're hungry, and you were already about to lose it because the coffee isn't done yet, and all the while your spouse is still in the shower. See, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The climate polycrisis sounds a little something like this. Maybe it started with an alarming scientific consensus that meant we needed quick action at local and global levels. But suddenly, some people that you like on TV are saying that the consensus isn't a consensus. Oh, and your crazy but lovable uncle absolutely will not hear it when you talk about switching to a plant-based diet. So let's buy an electric car, except, whoops, now that car supports a Nazi? And someone said its battery was thanks to conflict minerals in Africa. And all the while, that celebrity that I really love keeps flying that dang private jet. So maybe my gas car really is fine. Wait, now there's a president signing a historic bill for clean energy, but oops, now there's a president saying drill, baby, drill. And Oh yeah, meanwhile, both presidents just keep sending bombs to that faraway genocide, which released more carbon in 4 months than 33 countries produce in a year. But maybe it's okay because our favorite megachurch pastor just explained that we had to do that so that Jesus can come back soon, so that he can fix the planet and we don't have to. Woo! Okay, that was a lot. As you can tell by now, this polycrisis is beyond overwhelming and beyond any one of us. The different strings at play, economic, political, spiritual, familial, behavioral, and more, all reinforce each other and seem to cause more chaos as soon as any one thread is pulled. At this point, I'd like to take a moment and say that I'm proud of you. Many people, especially churchgoers, cannot take this honest a look at the realities that our world is facing, as painful and unbearable as they can be sometimes. Without this critical first step of accepting where we find ourselves, we cannot even begin to respond as Christ followers to this climate polycrisis. And what might that response look like? In the face of terrible and worsening odds, we move forward by mourning the devastation and fighting like heaven for the living people and creatures of our planet that are still with us. The vision of new creation that we are given in the Revelation text we read today shows us exactly what it means to fight like heaven for the living. It means we keep going until mourning and crying and pain are no more. It means we keep going until CO2 in the atmosphere reaches pre-industrial levels. It means we keep going until everyone has equal access to the education and resources that we need to thrive. It means we keep persevering until we learn to live in a just peace with each other and our planet. We push on towards a day where no more tears are shed because climate disasters, genocides, and shallow theology will all be long forgotten. God is with us, comforting us, and restoring creation like a seed that grows even when we don't watch it. We listen to these trustworthy and true words that God is making everything new, and we allow the fantastical, the improbable, the statistically unlikely outcome of what those words mean to catch like an ember in our hearts, a burning hope that keeps us fighting like heaven until heaven and earth are made new. To conclude our time, I'd like to invite Emma Sizer back up to the pulpit to share a powerful prayer that she wrote of gratitude, lament, and hope for our hurting world. Emma, take it away.
Dear Lord, we are thankful for the world you have given us. We thank you for the clouds, the sun, the stars, and all the planets. We thank you for the littlest desert mouse to the biggest blue whale. We thank you for the coast live oak and the tiny dandelion seeds floating in the wind. We thank you for each human being, for the love and friendships we share. We are very sorry we have poisoned Earth's waters, plowed tractors filled with pesticides to kill her creatures. We have sent plumes of dark ash into her sky and caused the oceans to heat. We have melted many icebergs, killed many eagles, and for this we are truly sorry. We hope that you can fill our hearts with love again, to broaden the minds of our children, to fix what we can while we are still living. We hope to learn to live in harmony with the earth, like we did so many years ago. We promise to learn and do what we can to help Earth, to help all the organisms on Earth, to try to remember that all creatures, great and small, can learn to live in harmony again. Amen.